Hey fellow Tinkerers, Explorer Idra here, and today I'm coming at you with another guide video for Tinkertown. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to obtain the oak armor and oak weapons in Tinkertown. So without further ado, let's jump into it, shall we? Now in order to get yourself a set of the oak armor and oak weapons, you're going to have access to a bunch of these bad boys right here, the mysterious diagrams. These, in order to get them, you're going to have a couple things first. One of which is you're going to have found the forest dungeon located in a random spot in the forest biome in your Tinkertown map. Secondly, you're going to have the forest dungeon key to access that dungeon as well too. Both of these you can actually find in videos on my channel that I cover off for running the dungeon, as well as a video that I did for knocking down the barrier to the tundra and desert biomes. Now, once you've made your way into the forest dungeon, how do you get these mysterious diagrams? Well, when you're making your way through the dungeon, you got to be on the lookout for specific treasure chests that are going to be located behind locked iron gates. In order to access those, you're going to have to find yourself some of the forest dungeon keys, which you can obtain from defeating both the first boss and the last boss within inside the dungeon. Once you have those keys, you take them and unlock the gates, and hope that there's going to be a pattern inside of one of the treasure chests. These patterns are random, so it did take me a couple of tries to run through the dungeon in order to get a bunch of the different patterns and get different ones to unlock. Now, with that, you're also going to have yourself access to some of these different types of gems, which you can also find in the forest dungeon as well too, as well as oak bark. And oak bark is going to be specific to these mysterious diagrams for making the different patterns, and from what I can find, can only be found inside the forest dungeon located in a bunch of those locked treasure chests. Now, once you've collected a bunch of these different mysterious diagrams, well, what do you do with them? So, you're going to have yourself access to both a workbench as well as an outfitter. Both of these items can be crafted on your person, typically at the very beginning of the game. Your workbench is going to run you 10 wood, and your outfitter is going to run you 10 wood and 5 string, both fairly simple to make. Now, once you have them, your outfitter is going to have your different types of oak armor. Now, your different types of oak armor so far that I've unlocked that I can see will give you two different pieces of what I have kind of determined to be a bit more of a hit point and strength based type of equipment, both the oak helmet and the oak armor, and two pieces of gear that are going to be a little bit more geared towards a bit of a mana or magic build, which is the oak mask and the oak robe. Now, I found the oak gauntlets and the oak boots, both of which are give you a little bit of strength, a little bit of speed, and a little bit of agility. And that's the only ones that I have found so far for both your hands and your feet. Now, once you have these different patterns and you have all the different items required to make, you just have to craft one. So I'm going to go with a bit more of the strength build here. So I'm going to go with the oak helmet, which is going to run 4 oak bark, 2 leather, 1 ruby, and 1 mysterious diagram. Now, this should, once you craft it, create you the item, and it looks like it uses up your mysterious diagram. So if you lose it, if you want to make a second one for whatever reason, you're going to have to run back in and go grab yourself another one of these mysterious diagrams. Alright, now our oak armor is going to run us 6 oak bark, 4 leather, 4 cloth, 1 ruby, and 1 mysterious diagram, which we have, and we craft one. And there you can see it has replaced the mysterious diagram with the oak armor. Now, you may have to run the forest dungeon a couple of times in order to get some extra oak bark. I got on average around 13 pieces per run, which gave me 26 pieces, which I'm using up currently right now. Now, our oak gauntlets, 2 oak bark, 4 leather, 2 cloth, 1 mysterious diagram, and our boots, we're looking at the 2 oak bark, 6 leather, 4 string, and mysterious diagram. There we go. So we got our 4 pieces of armor. Now onto the weapons. Alright, so onto the weapons. So the weapons will be crafted in your workbench. And so far I've unlocked the Staff of Magic Shards, the Staff of Thorns, and the Oak Shield. And I should have enough to create all 3 of these. So I'm going to make them all, and then we can test them out and see what they do. So The Staff of Magic Shards fires a barrage of 3 magic shards in a straight line to damage foes. Sounds cool. Let's build one. The Staff of Thorns. Thorny roots break from the ground around you, capturing and damaging all enemies in the area. Kind of a neat little thing. Let's make you 2. Alright. And an Oak Shield doesn't really have any extra powers, but it gives us +1 strength compared to this green iron shield. There we go. Alright, so we've made one of every pattern that we've got so far. And I want to check these out. I want to see what kind of the difference is and why this is a bit of a big deal. Now, typically, when you go into the Forest Dungeon, you're not going to have access to a whole ton of armor yet. It's going to be your basics. Your bone, your wood, your leather, and your basic iron armor that you might have access to. So, coming out of that dungeon, you've now got access to some extra pieces which will give you a little bit of extra stats, and including hit points, which is kind of a big deal, especially when you go from the Forest Dungeon onto the Desert Dungeon. So let's add these on, shall we, and see what we get out of it. So we get 10 extra hit points so far, which is really nice. There we go. So overall, not too bad. Looks like we got a little extra strength. We definitely got the hit points, which is a very cool thing to have. Switch out this right here. And then it's the weapons. And I want to test these out for you guys and see how these work. Let's check that out, shall we? Alright, so first off, we're going to try out the Staff of Magic Shards. I found a couple of slimes and goblins near my base, so let's give this bad boy a whirl, shall we? Alright, so a few shots, takes out that slime no problem, but if you notice up in the top left, the Staff of Shards takes up mana. So this might be better or well suited for running with the other armor that gives you the extra mana points, because it will drain your mana fairly quickly from what it looks like. Alright, now let's see if we can... Now, can we hit you from other side? Oh, we can! Okay, that's kind of neat. So that shoots through objects. But it also, too, uses up mana. So you got to be careful. It looks like mana is going to be a bit of an issue with those ones. So it might be better off to choose the mana intensive gear that comes with that. But otherwise, very cool looking little things. And I gotta say, I do like the little helmet that I'm wearing with the branches sticking out of it. Pretty neat. So, but this is probably gonna be a decent set of gear, especially until you get into and past the Forest Dungeon into both the tundra and the desert biome, and have access to your ice armor and some of your other armors that you can get in those biomes, especially once you get into the desert dungeon. To have the extra hit points going into that dungeon is definitely helpful with some of the creatures that are in there that can hit for pretty good damage. So with that, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Just a bit of a quick one for showing off this armor and how to get it, how to make it. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like down below for me. I greatly appreciate it. Definitely helps me out. Let me know what you think. If you like the armor, if you would just sooner rather use one of the other armors, and if you're playing the game, let me know what you think of the game so far. Lots of cool things coming down the pipe. So with that, hope you guys all have an awesome day, and we will catch you in the next video.